transition here. We've got about 23 minutes, and I know you guys got plenty on your plate. I'm just going to put a link in here again to the Jamboard, and if you could just take a couple minutes here while we're going through here and just share anything that's new to your learning, something that you explored. So we have that, and obviously if you want to jump on the mic and share some of that, we'll do a quick little kind of show and tell here for a few minutes, and then kind of explain where we're heading into our last session here. So if you could fill that out, and then obviously if you want to share verbally, that would also be great, and then we'll move on. So while you're adding some stuff to the Jamboard too, I'm going to throw in two other links. I emailed this to Deb, but these were the questions that Deb had earlier. I just want to make sure you have links to it. And but she had asked about information of the Originality reports and the new citation feature coming into Google Docs. So these are the links that I shared with her, just so you're aware of that in case you were interested in those. I know she's not here, but I sent her the email. The citation feature is not, I don't have it available on my doc yet. It should be fully rolled out by October 15th, but that link will show you at least what it looks like if you're interested in that. Deb told me you guys have Noodle tools, so it may not be as robust as that, and I'm not here to share with you that this should replace that. As I told her, it's just good to know what's always in development in case at some point, you have to make decisions with cost and tools and whatnot. So just it's to be aware. It's not to say that is better than Noodle tools, because I haven't even used it. So I'm not going to pretend to know anything else because I don't have access to it. And then the Originality report. So that was the tool for those that maybe aren't aware of it. Student, again, it depends on if you're the education version or enterprise. I know we found out that you guys are on the education version, not enterprise at this time. You have limited use of the Originality reports, but what you can do with that is a student can use this too, and you as an educator, it'll scan the whole document or whatever it is that you're going to use that for, and give suggestions on things that are potentially plagiarized, and it flags it and gives suggestions, and it obviously it uses all of Google's databases and everything, so it's pretty robust. It's a great feature, obviously one for you as an educator, but more importantly to teach students, to have students know how to use this so they can kind of use it to check their own work, because sometimes they don't even know how to even go about looking at their work to know if it's been plagiarized or did I actually put it in my own words. What does that mean? Sometimes that's a hard concept for kids. So that's there. That is available, and you can run through and explore that already. But that link is there if you're interested in that as well. So,
Aaron, I just wanted to clarify that we do not have the enterprise, and I guess Sean said that we are not at any point going to get that.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Okay. Sure. Okay. Great. So we will.
Conversation you and I can have to help prepare for next week a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely.
At some point.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Definitely good to know. So we will definitely work on what the workarounds are to have some of those features. There are ways to do that, but it's just good to know. So. Yeah, so I'm just checking the Jamboard here real quick as we're looking through. Yeah, I see the quote there from Jason Latimer, the right question changes everything. It's a really pretty cool concept that he approaches, the idea of he explains everything through Google search, and the most popular search, and he explains it too, like if Google was around when the earth was flat, all information would tell us the earth is flat, even though at the time, it's actually wrong information, but that's just what we've known. He has an incredible magic trick that goes with that in terms of like with balloons and lights. If you search it, it's crazy insane. It just has a kind of cool stuff. So yeah, the Screencast-O-Matic I know is a good one. As you're continuing to work through that, just let us know how we can support to reach out with Christine and get that stuff there. I know it's always definitely a work in progress. And with that too, do you guys do you guys have access in your Canvas? So I'm not a Canvas expert, but I was doing a call with another guy who's been using Canvas in their district for a long time. Do you guys have it's called Studio? Do you have Studio on your sidebar? Okay, never mind.
Well, I think there is. So the Studio allows you to record right into Canvas, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that. I don't think it's on the sidebar. One thing that Landon did note that only Landon would be able to determine this because he's so much more of a thinker than all of us, that our storage is not very high on Canvas. And so there, he was concerned about using that because we don't have a high storage.
Okay. Yep. Yep. Yeah, I'm not even going to go down that pathway. Landon, you can obviously jump in, but I was just curious because I know I was learning there's another option on, but it may not be a good option.
Quick question. Is storage something our district purchases for us? Or is it because the state purchased this canvas for us, it's a limited storage? Do you know, Rachel? Okay.
So as far as storage goes, that was a concern I had initially, because I think initially under a course it listed like less than 1 gigabyte of storage. And at the time, my concern was if I was recording directly into Canvas, it was going to store those videos on Canvas. The videos would likely take up a lot of space. I'm checking now, and in one of my classes, it says I'm using 16% of 1 gig. So it looks like they've upped the space. 16% isn't bad, but I guess considering we're halfway through 1 quarter, that could fill up pretty quickly. But it's not totally clear to me which files. I mean, I would assume all the files that I record go there. I'm going to keep an eye on it. I would doubt anyone's getting real close to that storage limit yet, but that is why I was thinking, one, Screencast-O-Matic saves it through them. So if you're embedding from them, you're not using your Canvas storage space, which is a benefit. Or obviously, if you upload your videos to YouTube and then embed from YouTube, that would also not use the Canvas storage. So I'm not freaking out yet, but in a quarter from now, if I'm starting to run out of space, maybe that's an issue. The other thing I've just started doing this, but I've started leaving video feedback for students sometimes, like in the comment section on an assignment. Some of those students I know aren't going to read the paragraph I write them to try to tell them what they need to fix. So I've been trying videos for some students. I'm assuming that also takes Canvas storage space. And there's not really an effective way to use Screencast-O-Matic or YouTube to give them individual feedback that pops up in their comments on Canvas. So when I get a sense of how much space that takes up, that might be another reason to try to offload those videos onto Screencast-O-Matic or YouTube instead of recording directly into Canvas. That may have been a lot of info. And I guess the ultimate answer is like, I don't know for sure, but it seems like we might have a space issue in the future.
Yeah, well, definitely, it's good stuff to know, and just for you guys to keep tabs on as you have your initial decisions that were been developed and you're testing. But as the year goes on, you're gonna start to see some of those things, and just what does that mean for you guys to continue to move forward. And another way too, I don't know if everything has to be for Canvas for you, but if you're able to give feedback like directly onto their documents, there are some wonderful extensions that allow you to do voice. Like, I don't know if you've explored Moat or the talk and voice extension, and we can explore that as well, but that allows you to embed audio files directly onto the document, and then it also does a transcript for you automatically, and they can just click and listen to it as well. So I don't know if you're able to do that or not. I know you guys got things in place in terms of what you can and can't do, but just I'm throwing it out there, Rachel, if that's something that might be an option, we can plan for that. So
that would be really nice to know if we can, because I found out the hard way. Like, I was leaving feedback, like when they submit to Canvas, sometimes it's like it's just in Canvas, like it's not out on a Google Doc that I've like access through their drive. It's just on Canvas. And I found out I'm leaving these comments on Canvas and they can't see them. So I'm spending all this time leaving these comments and apparently they can't see them. And I was like, well, that was dumb. So I've done this for how many weeks, and finally some kid told me, hey, I can't. So it would be nice if we had access to a way to do it even through voice recording, because sometimes it's so lengthy that of what you're typing, and you're like, you've only got this little tiny box, and how do I put it all in that little box? Otherwise I'm creating an email, so I'm going back and forth between Google email and their assignment and trying to explain to them like what they need to do. And that would be so nice if you could just, if we have that option. I don't care if I even have to attach it to an email, but I would like to know how to do that, because
I used Moat last year. I haven't used it this year, but I did use it last year. I don't know if it's still okay this year or not.
Yeah, well, definitely, Rachel. Yeah, go ahead, Landon.
Theoretically, I don't see any reason we couldn't use it. I think you just have to make sure you're setting the assignment up in Canvas in an appropriate way to use it. Because like, if you use the external tool to just like put a Google Cloud assignment up, we don't have access to that doc that it creates for them. As opposed to like in the past in Classroom, it made a copy for them, we had access. So it's kind of an access issue on our end. If you can get students to like share every single one of those docs with you, then I would guess any extension, any voice thing you want to use in Google Docs would work just fine. But the problem I've been running into is even when I explicitly say turn in a shared link to this assignment, 25% of the time a student hasn't actually given me access to the doc, and then I've got the whole go around of emailing them, asking for access, waiting for them to get it to me. Sometimes they never do. So I think there's maybe a bigger issue of how are we assigning work in Canvas, and what's the best way to make sure students are giving us access so we can see what we want to see. But yeah, that's a whole different issue that I'm not sure how to deal with.
Yeah, I agree with that also. I spend a lot of time clicking on that request for access. I don't know if they're not getting the emails. I even bring it up during Google Meets. I email them separately, and there are some, it's like, so I just mark a 0 and I put in the comments, I can't access this. I've been waiting for weeks.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, that's another thing. But sometimes, depending on how they're turning it in, because sometimes when they turn it in, it'll be turned in as a link, and then I can actually get to their Google, it'll take me to their Google Drive, and I can comment right on it. So depending on how they turn it in, and that's one thing I wish we could just kind of sit down with the kids. I feel like so much pressure, like keeping the kids up with the hybrid kids, that I feel like I don't get time to talk about the things that I need to know about because of the technology piece and how things look on their end versus our end. I'll even go to student view and I'll try and figure it out. But it just doesn't show up the same way on my computer as it does on theirs, even in student view. And I would like to know how it is. Like some of them are able to turn it in, and I just click on a link and it sends me to the Google Doc and I can edit it and everything. But most of the time it's just embedded into Canvas and you can't do anything with it. So
guess is, I'm not 100%. My guess is when it's the link, they're probably submitting the assignment with a URL. They're getting like the right shared link, they're turning it in. I'm still trying to figure this out as well. But I think when we see like that snapshot in Canvas, that we can make little annotations on in Canvas, but it's not their actual Google Doc. I think that's if they're making a submission via Google Drive. Like they go to like submit via a Google Drive file and selecting their file. It gives us a snapshot of the file, but it's not their actual doc, as opposed to then giving us a link that goes to their live real Google Doc. If that's the case, you could probably, for the assignment, just restrict the type of turn-in options they have. Because when you set the assignment up, you can say like, click the box for URL, click the box for whatever. That might do it. Again, I'm still experimenting and trying to figure all this stuff out too, but that's my best guess.
Yeah, but I appreciate those conversations and sharing, and I think it's just a continued conversation of what people are learning along the way, and just being vulnerable enough to share. Here's what I'm doing, and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, and over time you kind of find out, which is not always ideal, but it's just your guys' world that you're living in right now with trying to learn lots of new platforms. And so I do want to transition, not to cut off conversation. We'll definitely stick on it for those that want to keep having those conversations. I don't want to end it, but I know some people do need to get going with lots of stuff, and we've been together for some time. So we've got one more Wednesday session together next Wednesday. And I will coordinate with Rachel on just some things to make sure that we're making the best use of your time. Lots in development, but as well as all the things we've been learning. So I know like some of you didn't get through all the way through Flipgrid, and just know that next Wednesday you can continue that work. Just because you didn't get through it all doesn't mean you have to go keep doing the learning on your own unless you're interested in that. But these things will always be available for you as you go. So that's kind of where we're headed. And just stay strong. I know everyone tells you that and you get tired of hearing those things, but really trying to make sure that you've got what you need, and definitely here to help support in between our Wednesdays if you need that, just a another voice or perspective, always willing to jump on a call with any of you and help you out. I know you've got incredible support with the coaches and all that, but if you just need another set of eyes on stuff, definitely feel free to reach out. And I think that's a kind of a good place to kind of wrap up where we are for today. So any final thoughts, questions, things we need to cover or address that we didn't cover that I said I would, or anything like that? All right. So,
sorry. I was just gonna say, I just really appreciate your time with doing all this, Aaron. So thank you very much.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And, I'm glad it's, hopefully helpful into your pathways. And, we continue to learn as you guys ask questions. This, keeps the spark going for me to reach out to bring those people in that can offer that insight, So just as you have those questions, don't hesitate to reach out, because that does drive, my work to help you in any shape possible. So like the Screencast-O-Matic was something that was never on my brain until it was brought up, and then we're able to make that stuff happen. So I'm willing to find those people, find those resources, and offload some of that where you guys have to work on all the things that you're currently dealing with, and that's stuff that we can work on the back end to bring that to you, when you need it. So absolutely. Well, if there isn't any other thoughts, I'll definitely stick around if you have individual questions or want to go over anything. But I know you're ready to move on, so we'll let you get on out of here, and we will see everybody again on next Wednesday for our final little block of time here together. So good luck, in the nerdy way. May the force be with you. You might need more than the force, but we'll combine all superhero worlds, get the force and the Avengers and everything, and it's just throw it into your cup of coffee, or if you're drinking something a little bit stronger than that, and we'll find a way to make it through. You guys always do. So have a good rest of the day. Like I said, I'll stick around, but feel free to jump off the call and get moving on with your other agenda items.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.